The amnesia premise has been portrayed in movies time and time again over the course of cinema history. The formula for this plot usually goes like this. The character has an event which causes his or her to lose their memory. Character goes on a journey to find out who they are. Character finds out who they were by some crazy memory triggering element. Character spends the rest of their days better than who they were before the event that took their memory, or goes back to normal because they found their family, blah, 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 blah. So nice. Happy endings all around. In the case of movie badasses, the character, despite losing memory, still retains all their badassery in situations that require them to use their badassery skills, such as foreign languages or fighting, or carry out some crazy complex stealth infiltration missions. A prime example of this particular case, of some would call a head injury type amnesia, would be Jason Bourne, who has retained all of his butt-kicking skills and covert ops training, but can't remember what he did the last, 30 years. 3 years prior to Jason Bourne making his cinematic debut, a giant space robot entered the Earth's atmosphere and into our hearts. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what the Iron Giant's original intention was, at the end of his free fall into our hearts, he seemed to bump his head. This in turn scrambled the giant robot's programming, causing him to malfunction. Or did he receive a head injury causing him amnesia? You know, like a living, thinking, not sure on the breathing part, but definitely eating, autonomous being. Deleted scenes aside, and only taking the original theatrical release as canon, there are many events and clues that point to the Iron Giant is not just an advanced alien space robot. He's more like a metal man. We can justify this almost completely by the complex range of emotions that he displays, not only in his face, but also in his body language. Not to mention his selflessness at the end, spoilers, despite his presumed initial reason for being there. So, for argument's sake, let's agree that the Iron Giant is not merely a space robot. He is alive in his own alien way, and oh yeah. When I say he's more like a metal man, I meant to say boy. The Iron Giant is a child. When we are first really introduced to our giant, barring the tension scenes leading up to actually meeting him, he is portrayed as docile, a bit timid and curious, like how anyone would be, waking up on an unknown planet and having just suffered a head injury that would cause, retrograde amnesia? Not exactly. Unless you've only been around the universe for a short time, not like, like not being very old, like a child. You're probably saying, dude, what the hell are you getting at? You're talking about amnesia and how the Iron Giant is more than just a robot, and now you're saying he's a child space metal boy. Yeah, I did say all that. And this is all leading to a point, a very dark and sad point. So strap in. To understand where I'm coming from, we need to understand the different types of amnesia that one could get, like retrograde, anterograde, transient global. These amnesia types can be brought on by dementia, getting blackout drunk, seizures, or head injuries. The amnesia our baby giant has isn't the type of amnesia we are led to believe it is. You're probably saying, bro, what do you mean? The giant totally has a big dent on his head, which caused him to forget his past experiences and training or programming. No. You see, the Iron Giant wasn't suffering from a head injury. Sure, he had a bit of a dent on his noggin, but we know that guy can survive a nuclear bomb and still come out smiling. Spoiler. He was suffering from dissociative amnesia. This condition is brought on when your mind rejects thoughts and feelings or information that you are too overwhelmed to handle. So here's my main theory in a nutshell. The Iron Giant is just a kid who was drafted into his world's military, right? I say little kid because minus his experiences, which he forgot, he reverts back to an infant-like state. After he was drafted into his planet's military, he saw and did some terrible things on other worlds. The stress and trauma and guilt of what he has done and what his kind has done to other planets put him in a state of dissociative amnesia, which causes, sometimes, unexpected traveling. That's why he ended up on Earth alone. That's why he doesn't fight unless he's threatened and his reflexes take over. That's why when he is called a big gun by Dean in the junkyard while him and Hogarth were playing, he looks mortified. He denies it. He runs off. He can't bear to think of what he actually is. He won't let himself remember. This is an amnesia movie where the protagonist, or I guess deuteragonist, I put the word up there if I said it right, probably didn't, doesn't want to go on the journey to find out who he is as a person. He doesn't want to know where he came from. He doesn't want to know what he was before then, because deep down inside, he knows he was no good. He knows he was a bad person. Only when his true nature shows up towards the end and becomes the giant world-ender robot that he is, does he then come to terms with who he is. As penance for his actions on previous worlds, he sacrificed himself for a small town on a planet he would have destroyed otherwise, not even giving it a second thought. You can see the tranquility that crosses his face when he flies up into the sky to meet that nuke head-on in the air. And he's at peace. And he says, Superman.